Welcome back to Zombie Recaps. Today, we will talk about a horror movie from 2015, titled Howl. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The train ticket collector named Joe is shown as the movie starts. He was looking worried at that time. He expected to be promoted, so it is the cause behind his worry. But he does not get promotion. Rather, one of his colleagues gets promoted. Joe does not get promoted because he was not as expert in taking fine from passengers as his colleague. Because his colleague was rigid by nature, and he had no difficulty to receive fine from passengers. Then there is girl named Ellen who is trained T-trolley girl. And Joe used to like her, but he never shared his feelings with her. Joe had to do a night shift tonight, because his colleague was on leave for a cause. Joe collects the passenger's ticket as the train starts its journey. There was a rude girl among the passengers whose behavior was not acceptable with Joe. Joe moves to take the ticket from another girl, but she has no ticket. And Joe asks her to pay the fine. But that girl says, "I had brought the ticket as per routine. And my ticket has lost somewhere." Then Joe says, "You will have to pay fine at any rate. It is according to the traveling rules and you cannot violate the rule." Joe holds his seat after collecting the tickets of all passengers. It was raining outside. Joe falls asleep while sitting on his seat. Train is halted. Train driver tells, it has halted because there has been something wrong with the train. Coming outside the train, driver notices that a deer is dead after being crushed under the train. And it is the cause of the breaking down of a train. Driver tries to get the deer out from railway line. Then he senses someone's presence behind the bushes. When driver turns himself to check, then bushes were swaying fastly. Then driver is attacked by a horrific animal. That animal's figure was revealing that it is not exactly an animal, but a werewolf which is half man and half wolf. It means he was such a human being who has converted into a wolf. On the other side, Joe thinks in the train that diver had gone outside a long time ago, and he still has not returned back. Joe tries his best to explain to all passengers that train is out of order, and drive has not come back yet. Hearing him, all say that we should also go outside. One of the men says, "It is quite possible that we may get connected with the network at a little distance, and we may call help for us." But Joe forbids them to do as such, because it was perilous and his job may be at risk due to this. All passengers getting together force Joe to go outside. At last, he agrees with them, and he accompanies them without caring of his job. He opens the lock using his key. All passengers begin to come outside one by one as the train door opens. And they were gradually moving forward. Going at a distance, Joe discovers the dead body of driver. Driver's body had been mutilated, and his all intestines were appearing out. Joe and Ellen are frightened, seeing it, and they understand that there is any horrible animal in the forest, which has committed all this. And both flee from there, and they both ask all other passengers to board the train. They say, this place is not secure for them, but it is a perilous area. Then the howling of wolves is heard, and that werewolf was moving towards them hurriedly while howling. The rest of passengers board the train one by one, but a lady's leg was still outside. Then werewolf also reaches there, and it slams down that lady, lifting up. Anyhow, those passengers are able to bring inside that lady successfully, but she was injured badly because she has been bitten by werewolf. They immediately bandage her wound. All are afraid, witnessing her such condition. Joe contacts for help but gets no response. There was a self-centered boy. He tells everyone, there is a very dangerous animal outside, and we can also face them. And a lady bitten by werewolf says, it is not an animal, because its figure is not like animals, but his figure is like the human beings. But all were not trusting her, because they were thinking as this lady is in shock, witnessing werewolf. So she is stating as such because of it. And they hear the sounds of someone on the opposite direction of train, and they understand instantly that werewolf has entered the train cabin. Joe and two boys with him who proceed for checking, they come to know this sound is coming from the lavatory. And there was a passenger in the lavatory, and the lady's wound was getting worse who had been bitten by wolf. After a time, one of the passengers' phone rings, and she was female passenger whose phone was ringing. Picking up the call, that girl begins to tell that we have caught in trouble and circumstances are unfavorable. Meanwhile, werewolf brings that girl with him and puts her dead, breaking the train window. Being frightened, All take their seats. An old man among those passengers instructs them, how will werewolf be coped? And how will it be faced? They hold the placed axes. Using the heavy things of train, they seal the train's windows and doors. That lady has started acting mysteriously. Her husband takes water for her, saying thanks to Joe. Then that lady vomits blood, and her teeth also drop down as she vomits. That self-scented boy says, she is infected now because werewolf has bitten her. And she will also be transformed into werewolf after a time. They say, it is not as such. Being unwell, she is facing it. Suddenly Joe notices that a passenger is missing from there. He was the same who was in lavatory, and he is also in the lavatory at this time. Going near the lavatory, Joe asks him to come out as soon as possible. Because werewolf was exactly on the top of the train. Then that man in the lavatory does no get water while washing his hands. Suddenly, werewolf enters the train and it kills that man. Joe had come to rescue that man who is dead now. So Joe begins to move to other people while saving his life. But the door was locked. Here for the first time, Joe glimpses that werewolf, which was very horrific. He loses his sense, seeing him. And he is disturbed. Werewolf is nearly to attack Joe. All passengers save him while opening the door. And they immediately close the train door. Being sturdy, that werewolf comes inside. Getting together, they all kill that horrific werewolf. They observe a worn ring in the hand of werewolf. They get an idea that this werewolf was human being before. And he turned into werewolf because of any reason. It means he became werewolf due to the biting of any werewolf. Then that self-scented reminds to all that werewolf had also bitten that lady. It means she will also be transformed into the werewolf. So we should put her end. Because she is infected. Then werewolf comes into life again. It begins to howl loudly. Joe, who is wrathful, kills werewolf, attacking its head. Hearing the howling, that lady starts acting mysteriously. Then a forest scene is shown. It is known. There are many other same werewolves in the forest. That self-scented boy begins to kill that lady. Then all fastened him, setting him aside. They also fasten that lady along with him, so she may not harm them after transforming into werewolf. There is a boy who is mechanic. He says while talking about to start the train, there is oil leakage in the train, so it has stopped. He says, I will go to repair that oil leakage with my friend. Train has repaired for a journey if the light is turned into green here. That mechanic and his friend go outside to repair the train. Finding the place of oil leakage, mechanic begins to repair it. That mechanic's friend hears the voice of someone in the forest. And that voice was indicating as someone is in disaster and asking for help. And that boy alone moves to that forest to help. That boy observes, coming at a distance, on the tree, there was a dead body of a boy who had received a call. And he was being eaten by werewolf. Then he begins to escape from there. And he is surrounded by werewolves. Killing it disastrously, they eat him. 2 werewolves come near the train at that place, where that mechanic was repairing the train. These werewolves peep under the train. And that mechanic folds his legs upward. He is out of sight because of this. Joe and Ellen notice in the train that green light has turned on. They quickly start the train and begin to leave from there. But they are unaware that mechanic is under the train. And that lady had transformed into the werewolf to the backbone. As being a werewolf, that lady kills her husband at the first and eat him. Then a girl who was without ticket goes at a place and stands while feeling fear. And a werewolf also catches him, coming from backside. And that self-scented boy leaves her in the hand of werewolves instead of helping her. Because he was not going to be impacted with the life or death of anyone. Now that wolf lady was about to attack that self-scented after her husband. But Joe saves his life coming from backside after killing that lady. There is again oil leakage of train by mechanic. It was mistakenly and train is halted. Ellen asks self-scented boy about that lady, who was thrown before werewolves by him. And he tells that she had become the victim of werewolf. Now Joe had rescued that self-scented boy. But he leaves creating havoc for them. Joe and Ellen are surrounded by werewolves. At the exact time, mechanic burns the werewolves, using the fuel of the train. He rescues Joe and Ellen. Here both are saved, but mechanic becomes the victim of werewolves. Here Joe expresses his heart feeling to Ellen, telling he is in love with her cordially. He asks Ellen to flee from here. Being worried, Ellen was not ready to go after leaving Joe in this trouble. But she still leaves from there. Then werewolves attack Joe. Ellen observes a badge of Joe's name, reaching the station. Contrarily, that self-scented boy thinks he is safe from those werewolves. But he was wrong because werewolves had arrived from the surroundings. Joe was one of them who had transformed into a werewolf. All werewolves kill that self-scented boy after being a unit. And the movie completes with the death of him. That is all for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it thumbs up, subscribe to Zombie Recaps, and turn on notifications so you can get notified by YouTube when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching.